willpower if it's like if I'm not using the mask at the moment. Would I still be able to gain willpower back if I do what the mask is saying? So basically, like in my case, it's like the mask is saying, obey,
right? Obey and order,
like
basically, yes.
Order, yeah. And if I'm doing is like, that the covenant is giving like a rule and I'm obeying it and I don't have the mask involved at all, can I get a willpower point back?
And of course, the same applies to vampire stuff too. I mean, if you are acting like a person somewhere, and you meet the requirement to get your willpower back for your dirge, but at the moment you are being a person, not a vampire. So it just seems kind of a bummer to lose the opportunity. But what do you think? I mean, the book's a little hard to parse on. The book is a little hard to see.
A page to consider. Was there any page that covered those aspects?
Well, it's in the section on. We were just finding the rules. It's actually in character creation when it's describing all the mask archetypes, and there all it talks about is defending the mask or the dirge, but then each one has its own little criteria, right? There's all these archetypes in here. And each one is very clear on exactly what behavior it's talking about. But if you are not wearing your mask effectively, I mean, the idea, it's hard to know. Right. So if you are, what if sometimes I think they had one image in their mind when they were writing. I mean, I can make trouble. I could say, let's take rebel, your rebel archetype. What if I had my mask as a rebel? And not my dirge, but my mask was a rebel. Well, to get all my willpower back, I have to defy a kindred tradition or a covenant taboo, but it's in mask. You see what I mean? It's they only wrote it with rebel as a dirge. They never thought about rebel as a mask when they wrote that.
Yeah, because I kind of think back to like the first edition of Chronicles of Darkness.
Yes.
There you had virtue and vice instead.
Mm-hmm.
Good habit and your bad habit.
And so
it was the sins and virtues, but then they broaden it up.
Mm-hmm.
I think some evidence of it is still there. Maybe.
The original vampire had a sort of psychological approach that it was your outer self and your inner self.
Yeah, how you present yourself compared to who you actually are.
Correct. And then this one is the one who identifies with acting like a human, acting like a vampire in kind of a Clark Kent Superman kind of way. So in this edition, it sort of associates it with those. But I like the idea that that both of them are aspects of your character, your personality. I think that they should always be. I think they should always be accessible. I think.
Like the different ends,
right?
Like corners of who we are.
And if they contradict, well, that's good because we are complex, right? We are complicated. We are dramatic. So
because like it's like when Nora is with her jazz band, she's a bit more opened up. She isn't completely on the mask. Some more aspects of her Dirge actually shows through. All man.
Everyone.
Then she's kind of like the very
Mhm.
It look very innocent and
Yeah.
non-dangerous.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the more I think about it, I think that all of your characters have access to both Mask and Dirge at all times. That it's always a part of your personality, both of them. And so it's okay to be kind of mask-like when you are just with other vampires sometimes. It's okay to be kind of
So
Dirge-like as a person in some interesting way sometimes. So it makes your characters a little surprising to be able to do that, and that sounds fun. Um, and so I think that if someone tells Ansa what to do, um, and if you obey, like a servant obeys, right? I mean, specifically not agreeing, you're like, okay, right, to go do it, then that counts for a point of willpower back. Just because what other vampire is going to do that, right? No other vampire is going to do that. No, but you were a follower. You're like, all right, and that's kind of cool. Or, for example, if Nora reacts to stress by going very childlike and behaving in that immature way that it lists there, then she could get like her willpower back, especially if she does something dreadful and inappropriate. Well, you know, that's what Nora's like sometimes, right? That makes sense to me. Um, so if it's not obvious to anyone else, then I think we should just give ourselves a break and let you get your willpower back every way you can, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it makes sense in a way, like just like you said about the rebel,
Yeah,
like that's a good example actually. So, but then on the other hand, if it says there, like when you defend the mask
right.
or Dirge, then it's
Well,
like it
I
sounds like
think
it
it's
has to be
when
like,
your mask kind of comes into question or is like tested.
right.
So
Where and that's, but again, these are very specialized situations. It is though the game author is thinking of some very highly specific thing where you are trying to maintain the mask persona in some difficult circumstance, and you do a specific thing in a way that it describes, and you uh I don't know, it seems so specific. It seems so
it could be
specific.
interesting if they had like tied one more to like the humans part of yourself than other to like your vampiric self. The other one you use to like connect with your humanity, but the other ones
Right.
fear might cost breaking point could have cost breaking points or like tied to your more vampiric self.
I completely agree. I mean, what's the point of
So that-
separating them completely? That's boring. It's more interesting if
So that-
little pieces of them show up on either side, right?
For
That's more
example,
fun.
the idea was that the mask can maybe only give you one willpower, but Dirge give you more willpower.
that
It's
would be that would be kind of fun, right?
yeah, but it's kind of like
Yeah.
some negative effect, but like or cost breaking points, but it will be feed your vampire self or beast a bit more.
Yeah,
will
it would
be
be
more.
I think in this game they were trying for kind of an equality of your human side and your vampire side. They were kind of going for an equality in some ways, which I can understand that. But I like what you're saying. That's a good design. But anyway, I think that for our purposes in this game, let's say that all of your means to gain your willpower back are always there. And that way we get complicated characters who can behave in extreme ways for two different principles, not just one at a time.
When I think about I know Werewolf kind of had this mask and Dirge system, and there was the one was the more human aspect, and the other one was how you presented yourself on the hunt when you were like,
right, mm-hmm.
And that was kind of more your werewolf self,
right.
So
it makes a little more sense with werewolf though, because werewolves aren't dead, right? I mean, they're you are a person when You're not in wolf form, and in vampire, you're not a person, right? You're just not.
Just think you are.
Yeah. Well, in this game, I kind of like the fact that in this game, sort of pretending you are, they have a nice ambiguity in this edition. I like the ambiguity that the vampires do. You know, there's that kind of regret and envy of the living that's kind of strong in this particular edition, which I think is kind of nice.